Hey everyone, welcome back to 22 Panels. This is take two. Actually, this is the podcast that aims to examine, explore, and elevate the medium of comics. I am Tyler, and across the interwebs from me is Tad. Hey Tad, how's it going?
It's going good.
Good. Sorry that
Wonderful
we
day at C2E2.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're getting ready to go for day two.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
exciting.
Yep.
That's exciting. So, we did this once a minute ago and realized we weren't recording. Why don't we start over with what's going on with Frank Miller Presents?
Frank Miller Presents has moved to Abrams Comic Arts, which hopefully opens up some resources to expand the line.
Uh-huh.
Particularly because I like the stuff that Frank Miller has done for Frank Miller Presents, but I think we both have liked some of particularly the Emma Kubert story, um, even more. So Frank Miller Presents can become a little bit more presents and not necessarily any less Frank Miller, just less percentage of Frank Miller because there's more presents of other
Presents.
stuff.
Yep.
Um, that could be really cool. And Abrams Comic Arts is a major publisher and part of an even bigger publisher. So, hopefully this winds up being a decision that makes it blossom. Um, And worst case scenario, it just means stuff stays in print and things go on as they are,
Exactly.
which is a pretty good worst case scenario. So yeah. Before I break down like some of the fun at C2E2 yesterday, though, we need to talk some Supreme Court
Yeah.
because uh Thursday was a doozy. Um, Setting aside the fact that like Donald Trump's lawyer with a straight face was willing to say, uh, uh, yes, he could see it being an official action of the president to execute his opponent.
With
Uh,
immunity.
well, yeah, and that he should have immunity because he should have immunity for all official actions. Um, and yes, he thought it could be an official action to stage a coup to stay in power. And though he did try to slip in, but I mean that's never really happened before. It's like, but
But it
what?
did. It did. It did.
um, Perhaps more bothersome to me though was the responses and the lines of questioning from the far right justices.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to quote a few of them.
Sure.
Um, and this is almost always in response, and I encourage people to go listen to the whole thing or read full transcripts. We're a comics podcast, so I'm not gonna like dig too. I mean, there are some people that probably think we're already too deep in the weeds, but no, not gonna. I'm encouraging you to go learn more. These are all essentially responses to the government's lawyer trying to say these actions that took place on January 6th, they're leading up to January 6th, are like bad. You know that, right?
No kidding.
um, Justice Justice Gorsuch said, "I'm not concerned about this case, but I am concerned about future uses of the criminal law to target political opponents based on accusations and their motives." Justice Kavanaugh, "I'm not focused on the here and now of this case. I'm very concerned about the future." Justice Alito, "I want to talk about this in the abstract." So, and of course, Justice Thomas, was relatively quiet, but that's because he should have recused himself given his wife's involvement in
Right?
the matter at hand. Um, so yeah, there was a lot of no, we don't want to talk about January 6th. We want to pretend January 6th didn't happen while we're ruling this case. Um and Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson kind of called that out. The fact that that everybody's talking about drawing lines, shouldn't we actually wait for a case that is more um germane to those lines to make those decisions? You know, we're supposed to actually make relatively narrow decisions. We're not
Mhm.
supposed to issue law based on hypotheticals. To
Yep.
to the extent that we talk about hypotheticals, it's supposed to be okay. Well, if we make this decision in this case for these reasons, could that be used in this other way? How do
Hmm.
we how do we um but the winner, Justice Alito, who um impeachment rules are actually what constitutes a high crime and misdemeanor um is very open to interpretation. I would love to see Democrats run on the idea of impeaching Justices Thomas and Alito.
Right.
Um, and I'm certain that they could find more than enough excuse for both. I would argue that this statement from Alito alone, in my mind, is impeachable. Um, because, and mind you, this isn't an argument that a president should have total immunity. See if you can follow this, Tyler.
Okay.
If an incumbent who loses a very close, hotly contested election knows that a real possibility after leaving office is not that the president is going to be able to go off into peaceful retirement, but that the president may be criminally prosecuted by a bitter political opponent, will that not lead us into a cycle that destabilizes the functioning of our country as a democracy? So his argument is that if presidents don't have total immunity, it will make them more likely to not want to have a peaceful transfer of power
Okay. I'm
because
not seeing the
they could
correlation.
be, well, essentially it's like the bizarro world version of what we have. It's like
Uh-huh.
he's ignoring the fact that this case is about a president who thinks he has total immunity, trying to stay in office rather than execute a peaceful transfer of power.
Yep.
But the argument he's making is if presidents have to worry about whether their future whether the guy they just lost to is gonna send the Justice Department after, which also ignores things like it was a special prosecutor, not Biden.
Yeah.
It was a jury of his peers. Grand jury indictments are for a reason. It's because before we even get to trial, we need to have a group of nonpartisan people hear evidence and go, yes, there's reason to pursue this. There are so many checks and balances on prosecutorial misconduct, and there are 4 votes on the Supreme Court right now, essentially for wide presidential immunity, with the only justification being they're afraid of possible future prosecutorial misconduct. And please don't pay any attention to the last 250 years where former presidents by and large have been able to go off, and it's just this president that chose not to go off into peaceful retirement and chose through unprecedented illegal means to try to stay in office. I mean, we keep talking too much of the ethosphere is about the unprecedented nature of the trials and the charges, and not enough of it is about the unprecedented nature of the actions.
Right.
You're right. We've never put a president on a trial before. I'm not going to quite say we haven't needed to, because Clinton had to
Yep.
work out a deal, and Nixon had to get a pardon.
Yep.
And for that matter, there are those who argue that Reagan should have had to deal with some stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I'm certain if we go back into history, we could find other places where it was, but we haven't ever had a president try to not leave power.
Exactly. Yeah, this is all new territory.
That's that is the unprecedented part. And when we make it worrying about what the future will do uh, to presidents who are just trying to be president, this is not about presidents just trying to be president. This is about a president not wanting to admit that he lost and
Right.
taking criminal action to avoid leaving office. I'm pretty comfortable with the idea that we can prosecute that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I mean, again, I encourage people to go listen to it or to read it more. I think you can see the knots, the convoluted logic that Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Alito in particular are having to wrap themselves in to manage to even convince themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. But yesterday at C2E2 was awesome.
Yeah.
Went to an autism panel, met a guy named Britton Payne, um, who big advocate of uh, autism representation in comics and media. Certain we'll
Oh,
be talking to him some more. Um, got to talk to a lot of old friends. Talked to Jim Terry and Zach Kaplan. Zach's probably going to come back soon. He just announced a new book with the Midnight, the band, the synth, I think synthwave. You said. Um,
okay.
so
The midnight they're called.
the Midnight. So we'll definitely be trying to talk to him soon. Uh, got some kick around ideas for another roundtable about comics for empathy, understanding, and change
Uh-huh.
because we enjoyed that
Yes.
last one.
Midnight is an American synthwave band composed of Atlanta-based singer Tyler Lyle and Los Angeles-based Danish-born producer, singer-songwriter Tim McGowan.
Right.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, I had some interesting conversations that I think are gonna lead to some cool podcasts down the road.
that's cool.
Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's any more news than that yet. I'll have more
More
wrap up
C2E2.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah, more C2E2 next week.
Are you going
Um,
on Sunday as well, or just
I'm
Saturday?
planning to. I mean, we'll see if my old body can handle it, but I
Hmm.
want to do every day bell to bell. That's my
That's funny that you're trying to go end to end.
yeah.
Not
Or at
funny,
least
but
I mean,
as in
yeah,
haha.
yeah.
But
Yesterday I was in the group when they opened it at 10.
mhm.
And I left at like 7:30.
Okay.
Today I plan to be in the group when they open it at 10 too, and I uh also plan to go to the Santos parties after or Santos sisters after party at 8. So I don't know what time I'll go home. And
It's
and
going to
that
be a long
and
day.
and and that will wind up deciding a little bit what I'm up to tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
So uh new to order this month. If the previews catalog has dropped, it has dropped since I stopped having time to look at it. But the lunar catalog was out when I had time to go through it on Tuesday. So all I have is just stuff from lunar. So I think rather than doing the full rundown, let's just highlight the ones that look awesome to us.
Sure.
Um, Starting with the domain from Chip Zdarsky and Rachel Stott. This is actually a
Do you want to share your screen?
yeah, this is the comic within a comic for public domain.
Okay.
Public domain is like the book based on like old time comic creators, that sort of thing, and the rights,
Yep.
etc. The
Yep.
domain here is the character. Um, So when best friends discover a crashed UFO, they also discover technology that gives them incredible abilities. But there's a catch. Only one of them can use the powers at a time. Can their friendship survive this power's temptation? In the pages of Image Eisner winning series Public Domain, Sid Dallas and the team of Dallas Comics reimagine their classic character, the Domain, for a new audience. And this is that comic.
That's awesome. I like the way that they've put on the original writers, Mike Dallas, Tanya Cole, and then
Right.
and then
Sid Dallas
replaced
and
it,
Dave Dallas and cross them
replaced
off.
them with
Right.
Zdarsky, Scott, Angiolini,
Right.
and Powell.
Zdarsky was there yesterday. His line was very long. I don't know if I'll manage to meet Chip Zdarsky, but Rachel Stott is also there, and I think I'll be able to stop at her table
That's
today.
cool. That's cool.
So yeah, it looks cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about this one. You ganked this one from me,
Oh,
but I'll
I'm
let you have
sorry.
it. No, I'll let you have it.
All right. Epitaphs from the Abyss, Terror from the Abyss, from Oni Press. This is Brian Azzarello, Chris Condon, Jay Holtham, Stephanie Phillips, and artists Jorge Fornes, Phil Hester, Peter Krause. This is just stacked with people.
Well, this
Uh,
is we talked about they got the right to
yep.
revive EC Comics. So this is the first title. This is the horror title.
Mhm. The most
So,
notorious game in terror is back with a vengeance. From the publisher that drove Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear, and many more into the depraved hearts of unsuspecting world, the immortal EC Comics returns with its first all-new series in 70 years. In our first exercise, can you scroll down a bit? In our first exercise 40-page dose of fear, witness shocking tales of dormant intention in the undying EC tradition as wrenched from the grave by the vile intentions of acclaimed writers Brian Azzarello, Chris Condon, Jay Holtham, and Stephanie Phillips, and realized into bloody reality by all slaughter artists Jorge Fornes, Phil Hester, Peter Krause, and more. Yeah, that looks awesome.
yeah,
What the Comics Code Authority couldn't kill has only made it stronger. EC Comics lives again in Epitaphs from the Abyss.
yeah. I'm digging this. I've already talked to Condon. He had a lot of fun writing his story. Hoping to talk to Azzarello and Stephanie today. Stephanie Phillips. Um, it was just never at their table as I walked by yesterday, so I'm hoping I'll catch them today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, yeah.
Cool.
Here's your other one.
Oh, yeah. Nice House by the Sea from James Tiny in the Fourth and Alvaro Martinez Bueno. No one who was invited to the house knew Max, but she knew each and every one of them. Masters of their fields, titans of industry and knowledge, they all represented the best and brightest of humanity. So when Max whispered to each of them the truth of what they deserved to be saved from disaster, to carry on the flame of civilization in a paradise built just for them, they all leapt at the chance. Why not? Why shouldn't they be the ones to live forever? Isn't it their destiny to survive the culling of the lesser herd? Wouldn't being named the future of humanity be nice? The Eisner Award winning The Nice House on the Lake, honored as Best New Series by the prestigious Angoulême, Angoulême
Angoulême.
Internet Angoulême
Angoulême.
International Comics Festival. James Tiny in the Fourth and Alvaro Martinez Bueno shocked the comics industry and unleashed a classic of contemporary horror. No matter what you think is coming, you aren't ready for their second act.
I don't know if I'll do single issues. I did the other one in trades, and I'm leaning towards trade waiting on this. I often do horror better that way.
Uh huh.
But I did wind up really enjoying um the first one.
Uh
So
huh.
um Heretic is a graphic novel. Sherlock Holmes meets Name of the Rose in an original graphic novel from artist extraordinaire and former comics laureate Charlie Adlard, for those who don't know from The Walking Dead, and award-winning crime novelist Robbie Morrison. Belgium, 1529. The city of Antwerp is ravaged by a macabre series of killings. The all-powerful Inquisition forces knight, doctor, lawyer, and reputed black magician Cornelius Agrippa and his young pupil, Johann Weyer, to investigate, and they are plunged into a maelstrom of murder, madness, and magic.
I love the cover for this. It looks just
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So definitely looking forward to that. Here's yours from our buddy Julio Anto. We're gonna have to reach out to him again.
Yeah. This Land Is Our Land, a Blue Beetle story. Writer Julio Anta and artist Jacoby Salcedo, the dynamic team behind the young adult graphic novel Frontera,
Which is
take readers
fantastic.
take readers on a gripping and inspiring journey filled with high stakes and heart as Jaime embraces his new calling as Blue Beetle. Jaime Reyes is an ordinary high school student in El Paso, Texas, with a deep love for his family, culture, and home, and loves nothing more than his neighborhood spontaneous gatherings that go late into the night. But lately, he's begun to realize that he and his border community are being used as pawns in an increasingly toxic immigration debate. The last few months have seen armed troops deployed along the U.S. and Mexican border, manufactured crackdowns at official border crossings, and a mounting resentment among a group of disaffected and reactionary youth. Jaime's problems get even more complicated when he finds an odd bug like artifact while stargazing. He starts feeling a little different, like there's another voice in his head pushing him towards his most base instincts. And to make matters worse, he's been having surreal dreams that show him that the true threat El Paso faces isn't illegal aliens, but actually aliens known as the Reach. In fact, according to his dreams, Jaime is meant to pave the way for the Reach's impending invasion. That was a huge
Da-da-da.
description.
It
Yeah.
was.
Michael, this land is our land. That looks
It
pretty cool.
it does look cool. I love Julio Anto's work. And you in collections, you took one that I love too,
I'm
which is
so
cool.
sorry.
You no, I don't get to have all the things I love. I've talked about this multiple times because it's actually made like my top three books a couple of times.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
love
just
it when stuff I love catches your attention.
I just, think it looks cool. So here's
It
Birds of
is.
Prey. This is
And
the
Kelly
trans
Thompson's on the schedule.
Mhm.
So we'll be talking about this
This is
soon.
volume 1, Megadeth. Kelly Thompson and Leonardo Romero and Aris Dane. And yeah, every
Yeah.
mission matters. Every life saved is a miracle. But this time it's personal. Oh, we lost the script there.
Sorry.
Dinah Lance is one of the world's most elite fighters, but sometimes even the Black Canary needs help. With her young sister held prisoner by the Amazons, a near impossible rescue is in order. To save her sister, she reforms the Birds of Prey with an unrivaled group of badasses: Cassandra Cain, Big Berta, Zealot, and Harley Quinn, and only one goal: extraction without bloodshed. What could possibly go wrong? Kelly Thompson makes her long awaited DC Universe writing debut, joined by her own Birds of a Feather, Leonardo Romero, and Jordi Belair. Collects Birds of Prey 1 through 6. Yeah, it looks
So
really
good.
cool.
It's so good.
I have not read Birds
So,
of Prey.
so good. Red light. And we're gonna have to ask Sarah back because I love talking to her after the first issue, and
Mhm.
it'd be great to talk to her when it's done. The fourth issue's next week, week after, something like that. Futuristic erotic thriller. Get ready for a red hot futuristic erotic thriller that sits at the intersection of sex and tech by exciting new writer Sarah Cho and artist Priscilla Petrades. Lacey is an AI sex worker in the futuristic red light district, and Lacey knows exactly what her clients want, better than they know themselves. Housed in a high tech brothel under the watchful eye of the mysterious Mr., Lacey has little in her manufactured life besides work. All that changes when she befriends Natalie, an orphan child who comes into her care. Now, Lacey and Natalie are on a mission to escape the red light district, only to find themselves flung headlong into the mystery behind Lacey's creation. So, yeah, that's been an amazing book that
Mhm.
I'm very much uh, excited about wrapping up, and anybody who didn't read it in single issues should definitely get to the collection.
All
Same
right.
same with this one that you're about to talk to you about.
Rogue State from Matteo Pizzolo and C. Granda. What
Rondo.
if a what if a contested presidential election plunged America into turmoil? What if? What if political violence consumed the streets? And what if a raging Supreme Court, in a strict interpretation of the Second Amendment, legitimized and deputized all militias, transforming the entire country into a paramilitary police state?
Okay, I'm going to stop you right now because these are all what ifs, but
Yeah.
as we talked about at the top of this episode, these are all way, way, way too believable what ifs. So, um, anybody who thinks that, politics aren't for them and they don't want to pay attention and whatnot, this is this is my call to them. Please pay attention just a little.
Yeah. This speculative fiction comic book series tells the story of Via of Bright Stars, a mysterious figure rising from the unrest, and Clara Cruz, a young professional who becomes activated in Via's movement when her fiance is disappeared as militias take over their Mission District neighborhood. But are Via and Clara freedom fighters or terrorists?
Yeah.
That sounds really
This is
too close to home.
well, and it came up the other day or yesterday in one of my long-ranging conversations at C2E2 that one of the things that really sucks about the way the old comiXology has now been rolled into Kindle is one of the glitches that still it seems really, really prominent is you can um, subscribe to a series and it won't always actually give you the next issue. And because it also doesn't organize like stuff in a way that it's easy to keep track of what's coming out, you don't always notice. And I particularly had the issue with this when I saw that this book was coming out. I'm like, oh, has the last issue came out? Because I had an Amazon subscription. Last issue came out like 3 months ago. When I clicked on it, it said you are subscribed to this, but it didn't
Didn't
say.
deliver it, yeah.
I still had to like hit the buy button.
Weird.
It's like, what is the point of subscribing if I still have to go back and find it and hit buy?
Weird. That is
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. So, all righty. So let's talk amazing or no, final order cutoff.
Yeah,
Final order cutoff. I'm just gonna let you take these. I'll
sure.
take the
Final one.
last one. I'll take the last one.
Gromit's #1 from Rick Remender and Brian Posehn and Brett Person, Marino Dinicio from Image. I don't know anything about that, but Rick Remender and Brian Posehn sound
It
awesome.
was like the 90s skateboarder one.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Mammoth #1, Paul Tobin and Arjuna Susini from Mad Cave. And One for Sorrow #1 from Jamie McKelvey from Distillery.
And then Thorn, the complete Proto Bone college strips, 1982 to 86, and
Yep.
other early drawings from Jeff Smith and Cartoon Books. Um, and I wanted to take this one because two reasons. First, it's just amazing. I got my Kickstarter copy. I haven't finished reading all of it, but I've definitely flipped through and it's so crazy how well he was drawing bone characters as like a third grader.
Right?
um, I mean, it talks about the college strips, but he started way earlier than that with these characters. So that's amazing. But also I've been going back and forth with his people, and we will likely be talking to him again sometime soon.
Hopefully. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, we've gone far enough down the road that I'm willing to go from hopefully to likely.
Okay.
I think we'll have a more definite answer on date and time probably early next week.
Perfect.
So got a follow-up email yesterday. So yeah. Always fun to talk to Jeff. And he is doing significantly better, which like one of the reasons it's taken me so long to reach out was he had his cardiac incident.
Yep.
And I didn't want to be a nag. So it was really, really happy to hear when I reached out that he was doing much better.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So some crowd funding still out there. And some days we go deeper into these than others. And today's one of those days that I don't have the energy to go deep. So we're just gonna say we got
Sure.
about a week left on Rigsby, Wisconsin, Volume 1, Foothold, S.E. Case, Iron Circus on Backer Kick.
Mhm.
I am the comic book walk, Cecil Castellucci on Kickstarter. I might have to reach out to her this week. It would be great to try to talk to her at the end of her campaign, try to help push her over. Comics Are Dying, the comic by Lewis Southard, over 100 artists on Zoop, May 3rd. This came up yesterday in one of the conversations too. We love it when we see those Comics Are Dying headlines and whatnot, because those of us who have been around, uh, like, comics have been dying the entire time I've been reading comics.
Exactly. They're
Which is the
always
same
in a
thing that can be
perpetual state
said
of death.
that can be said by people who are 10 years older than us, that can be said by people who are 50 years older than us. Comics have
Exactly.
been dying for so the entire purpose of this comic is like it goes through the history of comics dying with 100 different artists.
Funny.
Um, Northwest Museum Cartoon Arts first exhibit. We talked about this with Mark Russell.
Mhm.
Definitely worth backing. Writer's Block 2006 remastered. David Miller drew a story, and then Peter David, Gail Simone, and Fabian Nikesa did different words for it. The Fury, the Maelstrom, and the Kiwi. M.H. Callie, Elsa Chartier, Leanna Conga, Skylar Partridge, and Allison Sampson at Zoop. 2024 insert name Comics and Zine Fest. Ryan Carey, Emily Mayer through May 31st on Zoop, or on Kickstarter rather. I will definitely be out there. I'll try to drag Tyler this year. This is like my favorite pet Zine Fest. Please back it. Junior Daddy Issues numbers 2 to 5 from James III, Timothy Geathers, Jess Havoc, Paris Elaine, Noel Kelly, Jamal Eagle, Juan Castro, William Demerit from Rule of Three Comics on Kickstarter through June 9th. And if you missed issue 1, you can get it as an add-on, and its art is by friend of the podcast, Marcus Kwame Anderson. So, Tyler, what did you love this week?
So many good.
I'm going to start by saying that I loved all of your books too, which is why I have 3 different ones.
Well, I really struggled with my number 3, whether to put it on, because I knew you had it originally, but I'm like, it was that good.
Yeah.
But my number 1, though, was Batman Dark Age number 2.
Oh, so good.
From Mark Russell and Michael Allred. So Mark Russell's been doing this great Batman readaptation of Bruce's younger years, and it's completely different than the story we're told. This is where Bruce wasn't even involved at his parents' murder. He wasn't even there. I gotta put my dog down. And this is at the point now in issue 2 where he's finally become Batman. We get to see Bruce in a retirement home in the year 2030, which I think was pretty cool. The way they're that as a plot device telling the story, going back to the 80s. No, not was it the 80s that he was venting around? I don't remember the dates.
I don't remember right now. I thought it was like the 60s or 70s.
You're right. It was 65 when he was in prison.
Okay. Yeah, because he got sent to Vietnam.
Yep. So anyway, it's just a super cool book. Different telling of Batman. Bruce becomes Batman in a completely different way. Yeah, it's really cool. And then the Six Fingers number 3 from Dan Waters and Sumit Kumar from Image. This book is really cool. We're finding what's his name? Johan is the
sounds right.
The guy who's been committing the crimes this time around, but he's definitely has something that takes over him when this happens, which is new. Finding out more about what's going on there and him trying to visit the previous killer. Yeah, I'm just really really digging the whole
Yeah,
book.
no, this is where the two books start to merge. So yeah, the plot thickens, as they say. I
It
really
it, it
enjoyed it.
does. And then Feral #2 from Tony
So
Fleets and Trish Forstner, where the animals that crashed in the last issue are making their way through the forest trying to find their way back home, and they run into more feral animals than they were anticipating. They found some cats that they thought they could trust, but it turns out these cats were,
no, no,
yep,
no. And we discover that the humans want to kill all four-legged creatures. So, their desire to go home might not be as safe as
right,
they hoped.
yeah,
So yeah. Uh my top book was Spectrograph #1 from
mm-hmm.
James Tynion and Christian Ward. Um about this like clockwork haunted house. It's just so good. I don't even know how to go read it from Distillery. This is like totally your type of book, Tyler.
I know. I'm waiting. Yeah.
It's so good. My second book, Man's Best, #2 from Pornsack Piece of Shote, Jesse Lonergan. I got to hang out with Jesse Lonergan a little bit yesterday. He's such a cool guy, such a great artist. Um, and this story is just hilarious. And then a late addition to my list because I managed to get my copy at C2E2 yesterday. Deathstalker 1 from Slash, Tim Seeley, Steve Kostansky, and Jim Terry. Right before I bought it, I said to Jim Terry that after I had talked to Tim, I tried to watch a Deathstalker movie and made it like 40 minutes in.
Just
And he
not your
laughed
cup
and
of tea.
he's like, well, no, it's not even that. They're just bad. It's just
Uh-huh.
bad.
Yeah.
Um, and he laughed. He's like, I think you'll wind up liking ours better. And he's right, because um, while taking some of those bad elements, um, eh, because we got rid of human actors and replaced it with good drawings, and because Tim is a significantly better writer than whoever was writing the script for the Deathstalker movie that I watched anyway. um, it takes the ridiculousness and works it in the story. This is not, oh, let's take this ridiculous stuff and make it not ridiculous. It's still ridiculous, but it's ridiculous and funny
Hmm.
rather than just funny because it's bad. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah.
They're I mean, like Deathstalker is funny, and like Mystery Science Theater 3000 could make it more funny. The movies, right? The comic is funny because it's a funny comic, but it still uses the elements. I don't know how to describe it better than that. Swords and sorcery, lots of gratuitous violence and sex, and yeah, fun stuff. Fun stuff. I do recommend it.
Are any of them at C2E2, Tim, or
Yeah, both Tim and Jim are.
they both are?
Yeah, like I said, I was talking to Jim yesterday. I
Oh, that's
bought
true.
my
That's true.
copy from Jim Terry at his table.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Cool.
let's check in with our time traveling buddies. Um,
Yes. I
eh,
didn't time travel with you this time,
no,
though.
you it glitched out and you got
Yeah.
left. You
I
got left
got left
behind.
behind.
Oh, wait a minute. How do I know that?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, that's right, because we traveled
To the
forward in
past.
time last time. So
Yes.
I have been there.
Yes.
I have to be careful not to tell them anything about C2E2. He's gonna want to know, and I can't let him know. So you talk to the time travelers, and I'm gonna go elsewhere. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Wait a minute. I was gonna ask me how C2E2 was going, but I ran away too fast. And where'd Tyler go? I thought he was the one with the time machine.
Oh,
Is he gonna show up with his butt in front and his head in back like in Spaceballs? And we'll have to admit to him that he's got a big ass.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
he might have his skin turned inside out.
Ooh,
I hear that's
no,
a side effect of time
no,
travel.
no. That would be
That sounds like that would be bad for this podcast.
yeah. I don't like inside out skin. That's not funny. Funny is
My
what we were
apologies.
going for. Funny.
I don't know. I'm
So,
sure we could make it funny.
It'd
uh,
require a deft cartooning. It's
not at
in
9:30 on a Thursday night.
that's fair. I guess my 9:30 is a lot different from your 9:30.
Uh,
What are you guys talking about? It's only 7:30.
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, no, it's 9:30. It's Thursday. There was frost on the ground this morning. It was 80 degrees yesterday. It was 40
Mm,
degrees the day before. It was 70 degrees the day before that. It was
mhm.
28 degrees when I woke up the day before that. My head and sinuses are ready to explode.
Yeah, I hear you.
And
Yesterday
I'm
was
hoping that adrenaline will allow me to just go through C2E2 like none of that is actually going on. We will find out. I wanted to ask myself, but I ran away with Tyler. So I wasn't able to ask myself when I got here. I'll try to put it in the
fingers
chat.
crossed.
I'll try to put it in the chat Saturday morning when, like an idiot, I'm recording early so I can get down to the city early for an early panel.
Mhm.
So let's hit
When
it. Die. I might die, but I was talking about the 20-sided one.
I mean, you were talking about the world of Die and or the comic and
Yeah,
or the 20-sided one.
yeah. Did you notice how when they're talking to the die, its shape is a die, or its word balloon is a die? That's all Clayton Cole's baby.
Mhm.
Clayton Cole's
Oh,
is
great.
awesome.
I have to now go look at this. Oh, I see.
Oh,
It's always, okay. I see.
I am die, and what you
yeah, there
It's,
is.
constructed are the
it's,
rules that must be.
it's always this sort of, I don't know how many sides that, it looks like a 12-sided shape. Maybe only 10. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not mimicking the D20, but because it's
Yeah,
2D, I'm just counting the number of sides, and it
Yeah, I'm
looks like it's
counting
right.
10.
10.
Yeah, I like the
So,
Counting
silhouette.
10.
yep. Yeah, no,
Big and small, it's still 10.
I'd love to say that, the whole sort of ending where, it's all sort of,
Heartbreaking?
well, there's that. No, I don't know. I didn't feel it was all that heartbreaking, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at like the second to last page and everybody's
Mhm.
crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of a like cathartic sort of feel. I mean,
I mean, okay.
it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about Angela, it's a little heartbreaking. If you're talking about Chuck, it's, I don't know, actually kind of,
Yeah, no, Chuck's okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Chuck
Um,
takes that first step towards a character growth.
yeah, Matt is actually doing pretty well. Izzy, okay,
Mhm.
heartbreaking. And then Ash, I mean, you know, the main Ash, which I don't remember their first name.
Dominic.
Fair enough. They only ever get called Ash most of the time.
Right.
Um, is actually pretty, I thought, heartwarming. I mean, he comes back and, he's got the strength to talk to his wife about things that he hasn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll give you
I
that.
keep saying he, and I mean to say they, just because I don't really know how to That's okay. I mean, like gender fluidity. I'm not trying to say either way about it, but
Well, it does look they had a baby too.
right.
Mhm.
So as I said, like that felt heartwarming.
Yeah.
Um, Heck, even the sad moments where you have um and of course Soul, I mean, Soul on one hand it's sad because he's blind, but he's back, his mother's there.
Mhm.
I mean, we don't know what sort of life he lives with, everything that was sort of talked about earlier, but
Right.
I think he could probably even though he's blind, I think he could probably live a pretty good life. I mean, I don't think that should stop
Fair,
him.
fair,
Mhm.
fair.
And
It's just
Matt's dad isn't dead.
that's true.
That's a big win. I'm just
That
saying.
is.
Mhm.
Uh,
That is.
I
But
I
Mhm.
but but
frankly
but
found
but Izzy and
Izzy and
And Angela.
Angela.
Angela seem pretty miserable.
Yeah, but also like so
I
here's the
guess they were
truth.
the ones that were most miserable when we left too, though. So
There's that. Uh, let's
Well,
let's start with Angela and consider this. Angela has come back and she now has the knowledge of, her daughter is gonna go through stuff and she needs
right,
to understand that she's gonna go through that stuff and, take her experiences and, not necessarily overwhelm her daughter with them, but obviously, be able to be there for her. Um, and Izzy on one part, Izzy just saved all of Die, so there is that victory for her, and it is really sad that, she lost her house. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, it is, but real world thinking about it, it's like, yeah, she lost her house, but she also now is actually friends with Ash, which, you know, she sort of overcame the whole, okay, I'm gonna have this mantra or this aura of fuck you-ness because I don't trust you all, to, not reject me at some point. So I wanna, make sure I stab you before you stab me.
yeah, I
Um,
also see Izzy's point in her journey as in the way that she lets her walls down in front of her friends to sort of talk about moments of being vulnerable. And even throughout the story, she's been a character who's been more elusive and you know has been most impactful by working for and with others. And so by it's kind of a breaking down before she can rebuild herself in sort of a from scratch moment. I think you know in that regards you can read some hopefulness in it. And like Peter said, forging a true friendship with Ash as opposed to just an association. I think that's that goes a long way, because I think the what sets Die as a game apart from something like Dungeons and Dragons is that it's not one person telling the story for you know five others. It's six people telling the story together and
right.
interacting together and taking actions as a group or individually. And it's about dynamics.
Yeah, and especially since we're talking about, pretty much the very end of the comic, I think one thing that I really want to hit home on is before they get to return home, there is the question that, the amoral god, the
Mm-hmm.
Die, asks, which is, why am I here? And he's not
Mm-hmm.
asking it to, it's not like your age-old robot questioning, like, why do I exist?
Well,
It's like, no, I know why I'm here. You need
well,
to
it's
tell
the
me why I'm here.
what am I for? The
Right,
purpose and use.
right. You need to recognize this, right? And you know, I think that's pretty key when you think about like games, because like, sometimes we lose, our sight of them, right? It's just sort of like we're doing this and, we're trying to have fun. But if you do it for a while, it's like, okay, what am I actually trying to get out of this? Why did I want to do this in the first place? Like, what lured me into it? Maybe you don't know why you want to do it in the first place, but generally there's something that's like, do you want to live like, a different life as a fool, or, you know, dictator, or any sort of thing like that? And really having that question like placed out in front of them, and them some sort of realizing, okay, no, the reason we're here is things like, I needed to explore myself, and this was a safe place to do it, or I needed to get away from the world and have some place where I could like start, you know being crazy and not have to worry about repercussions, or
Mhm.
various things like that, right? I mean, like they all have some reason that they're there. Um, and that's not something that's unique to die. I mean, like it's not something we talk about a lot in role-playing groups necessarily, but it's not something that's unique to die.
Mhm.
It's very much true that a lot of times when we play games, we have things that, we want to do with them. I think right now, especially in the game that I'm running with Tad and my family, that's
Mhm.
something that we're desperately asking and trying to get at, and trying to figure out like, what is this, right?
Mhm.
And so you all know, Tad is currently purchasing the PDF of the Die RPG right in front of us.
Shh. Well, we were hoping to play sometime.
Yes.
Oh.
No, we are interested in trying to take a dive not only into this comic but the RPG associated with it.
All right.
I just was trying to let you know why you hadn't heard from Tad for a while, and why my
I
voice
figured they
Well,
was the
just
one.
were used to the fact that I zone out sometimes.
Oh yeah.
and then I definitely saw Eddie swipe for the mic.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Oh
A
yeah.
couple of times.
It's I one of my cats loves being held like that too. So I have a few shirts with some holes on the shoulder where he goes for stability. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, what? So in that case, I do have to say that while Tad's sort of dour take, uh,
Well, I think part of it was also that just like the chapter was
mhm,
so much pain.
yeah,
Killing your friends is never fun,
right,
even if they come
Uh,
back to life, even if they were dying anyway,
hmm
even if it's almost like you're fighting over who gets to kill your friends or your friend's
hmm
kid or
right. No, it
yeah.
it was there was a lot of hardship in that final chapter, and
hmm
I freely admit, like, obviously it was shocking when Matt was the one who was turning and looking at is it Veronica? Uh Looking at his friend's daughter and like, well, she has,
hmm
the thing we need. We just have to take it out, or essentially kill her. She'll come back. And it's like, and
hmm
then, but Matt's this character that, we're fairly like, he's essentially the paladin in some respects. He's like,
right,
this good, honest person. Like seeing him do something like that is in a way, um, we're not saying he doesn't have the right to do it. We're saying that it's shocking and it's hard.
hmm
And then to have that turned and, Chuck to essentially be like, no, fuck that, Matt, you need to be like, a good person or a good friend.
Mhm.
Well, I'm a terrible friend, so I'm just gonna lie to
Mhm.
you and say, hey, look, there's Ash, and
Mhm.
then do this while you guys are looking away. I mean, it's this whole last section, I
Mhm.
think they call it bleed, has been
Yeah.
a lot of character growth, and especially like even like it's been pretty noticeable for Chuck just because like he hasn't been playing his full power up of like, I'm just gonna go in brashly.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not saying it's not noticeable for everybody else. It is very noticeable for all of them, but um, it's definitely something where it's like Chuck is like diversifying. He's like, oh, like I'm not actually an idiot. I just act like one. Um,
Right.
yeah, but I completely agree with the last chapter. There's a lot of sort of heart crushing moments. But I think it's also filled with a lot of, I want to say, stoic moments. Uh, I'm careful about using that. I mean, like, I'm a
Mhm.
fan of stoicism in some respect, but um, in the sense that, there's this sort of realization that, yeah, all this stuff is happening and, at the simultaneously has already happened, and it's just sort of what do you do with it? You just sort of have to take it for what it is. Um,
Right. So the sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I've been
Oh,
talking
I
a
was
lot,
gonna.
Phil.
That's all right. That's all right. So I think so. The two factors at play here. I mean, one is a question: would it surprise either of you to know that Kieran Gillen grew up Catholic?
No,
Because yeah, a lot of yeah, the
it would not
suffering is
surprise
palpable.
me one bit.
Right. So he did. Two, the comic that got him into comics as an adult was Watchmen. So, the it's I can't help but think, with the reference at the beginning when they say, "Oh, this is like Dungeons and Dragons meets Watchmen." Um, that is, while there's a certain part of it that's tongue in cheek, there's I think another that's very self-aware of its influences, especially in that, the end of this book essentially makes an argument for determinism and time travel. I mean, time travel in a fictional sense, but mostly determinism. And I mean, that's
Yeah,
certainly a concept I struggle against, but it's the idea that when you apply that to a game with the rolling of dice, and so the existence of both chaos and failure and suffering, like how do you reckon with all of that?
right. I mean, what I one thing I was maybe alluding at to earlier, or at least was thinking earlier, is, you know, the, because it's a time travel comic, right? Because there's this
Hmm.
whole concept of a finished loop and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, it's not, and as you start to develop that understanding that it is in fact a time travel comic, that, things are going on in different times and they're not necessarily, you know, the the sequence of them isn't, steady throughout time, right? It's not like,
Hmm.
something happened in 1990 that happened after whatever happened in the
Hmm.
1800s. It's no, something happened in 1990 that actually went back and caused stuff in the 1800s. Um, yeah, you get to that point where like, it's you're absolutely right. I think the word determinism had been lost on me, or at least I hadn't thought of it. But that's
Hmm.
absolutely accurate. It's a deterministic comic. You're talking about closed circle. Doesn't really matter what you do. And at the same time, it sort of does. I mean, like Matt's like, hey, there are like what's done is done. Your daughter's here. She's one of the fallen. At some point,
Mhm.
he's as he's talking to Angela, and he says, but there are still moves to be made. So we need to go make them and figure out,
Mhm.
what we're gonna do with them.
Right.
Um, and then that ultimate sort of ending where it's like, okay, your choices are you are either the first people to die, or sorry, that's so weird that I just said it like that
Mhm.
because it's like,
Right.
You're the first person to be deceased.
no, that's not the first
If you
people
need
to come to the world of die.
Oh,
if
Right.
you need a third synonym to round out the cognitive dissonance, die is one of the three German words for the.
Oh, yeah,
D,
I think I
Yep.
forgot that.
D, Bart,
So it's
D.
yeah. So die game is also, I mean, it'd be pronounced D, yeah, but die game is also could be seen as, what is it?
It's
It's the
not.
game.
It's not die, Bart, die. It's D, Bart, D. Like the Bart, the.
Yes.
But yeah, no, like anything you do is just part of the whole thing. You like, I mean,
Hmm.
at some point, I think Izzy was like, or Izzy or Angela, one of them was like, well, obviously
Hmm.
we can't do this. We caused World War II because of we made this
Hmm.
game. It's like, no, that's not how that really worked. It
Yeah, more like because World War One happened, this also existed. It's,
right,
that's another thing, is that the word necessity and, concepts of determinism and fate, and larger forces is also, a very huge part of the Wicked and Divine. So that's, you know one of the ways in which, I guess also is that I remember being thrilled the first time I read through this in single issues coming out, because it just resonated so strongly with me and was so fantastic. And then I actually had to read this last volume twice to really, because the first time I reread it, the weight of it and the depression hit me pretty hard, and getting, like Ted said, and like we've talked about, just the heavy moments, the difficult moments. There's just the weight of it all. And I think
right,
that it took a rereading it and actually trying to apply an interpretation to everything. Is that one of the more subtle motifs that I've noticed throughout this is, Um, so the way in which Stephanie's art style seems to have a fluid, shifting quality to it is occasionally used intentionally, like, the four panel page in uh, the start of issue 18, um, is an exact. Those are the same four panels used in volume one, but the coloring is slightly different. So
is
it's the
that what
same
he's
moment.
talking
Yeah,
about?
they're remembering the pause that it what let Saul be dragged back into the game.
Right.
And then even when if you go all the way back to issue two, and you look at the moment where, she depicts the girl's face, and then the very next panel, the elf who she's based on, and then that character appears again in the very last issue where Chuck asks for her name. It's one of those full circle moments that's like, oh, these shifting depictions of ourselves. I think in comics, it's very easy to get attached to what is literally happening on the page. And, I think that there's a way to read this book as six kids in 1991, due to time travel shenanigans, receive a copy of Die the RPG, and then sit down to play as the six people who, they played as adults. So it's it's something that I'm still thinking about that, is really kind of a different way of looking at the book, that it's, that's like, what if they played this game and, whereas in this, Ash comes to be a person. It's kind of the idea of, what if Ash was able to find out who she really was back in 1991 instead of 27 years later, after all the trauma and repression,
Right.
and just finding the possibility of that in the book, and then with the unfortunately Lovecraftianly associated aspect is that any fan fiction or portion of the game is also a part of it. It's canon,
Right. No, definitely. Speaking of Lovecraftian, we I feel like we wouldn't be doing a podcast justice if we didn't mention that H.P. Lovecraft was in this last section.
Mhm.
I felt that they were pretty tactful with him, and even,
Oh yeah.
didn't ignore his
Racism?
problem. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Racism. Um,
And
yes.
you know
Um,
put him down.
right. And yep, and put him down. Um, they're like, yeah, he's been the,
Almost the engine.
Yeah, well, the framework, the
Right.
the the skeleton, you know the
oh yeah,
non-Euclidean
definitely.
shape.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, it's which that connects to another 12 issue Alan Moore comic book with Providence in
Which I still need
in
to
a
read.
very material way. Which I've been meaning to tell you, that Providence is a very dark book, and there's a lot of
Yeah, it's supposed to be
yeah,
amazing though.
it is. I
I've
would.
I've heard more than one person list it as Alan Moore's best work, and
It's pretty
like
damn good.
that's high praise when you're
oh,
Mhm.
talking about Alan
I
Moore.
so
I believe
I
that.
would I would just encourage you to read Promethea first, because there are
I read
concepts in
Promethea when it
Promethea.
came out.
Oh, you did? I didn't know you'd read
Yeah,
that.
I have all the
Oh,
single issues.
well, I'm jealous of that immediately. I see. All right. I
I'll have to
misunderstood. I thought you
check. I
hadn't read
might actually
Promethea.
have two copies of most of the single issues. If I
Oh,
do, I might have to like send some out to you. But
oh
I'm
goodness.
gonna have to
I
dig to
would be
go find them.
eternally in your debt. Oh, that I've been meaning to look for, at the very least, the last issue, to unfold it
Yeah.
as a poster. So I think that would be
Yeah,
fantastic.
because I had
Um,
I was pulling all of ABC Comics when it came out,
oh, nice.
and then acquired a second set of most of ABC Comics at a later date when I was helping somebody sort out somebody's comics that had passed away, and they needed to figure out
Mm,
what they had so that they could dispose of it appropriately. And I got to, you know, pick the stuff that I wanted to pay myself with for helping with all the sorting.
yeah.
Took a bunch of early Ultimate Marvel and the ABC Comics.
Nice.
Mm. It's a difficult situation to come by him, but yeah, I'm glad they ended up in your hands, though.
Well, I didn't know the person who they belonged to begin with. The the person who was taking care of them all didn't actually particularly know that was part of the reason they were taking care of them. It was
Mm,
the family just didn't have the energy and whatnot, but it was a
mhm.
massive collection, so they didn't want to just drop it off at Goodwill.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's where it's I don't think I can remember it quite right, but I know there's a Japanese word for people who look through, like Goodwill and used bookstores for extremely rare and valuable books to be bought on the cheap.
Believe that. I don't know what the
I
word
mean,
is either.
it's pretty
Back to
regular
die.
behavior for a lot
Ooh,
of like collectible people,
No, that
whether
makes
it's record
perfect
shop
sense.
owners or comic shop
all right.
owners or antique bookstore owners.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wanna I wanna say I totally understand how this relates, but I don't.
I
Well,
guess we're falling into
I
book club territory, whereas this is not technically a book club. This is a great responsibility.
yeah.
So so we should probably pull it back together.
Yep.
Ooh, shake shake the tangents loose.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I think we'll probably do more of a book club with this at some point, and
mhm,
obviously we're gonna want to play a game, so we don't have to
mhm,
go too
Oh, sure.
deep right now because we can take time, breathe, and talk about the whole series together and give it a whole episode rather
right.
than cram it
No,
in.
I'm all for it. I
Yeah.
just you know
No,
thought we
I
should
was I was agreeing with you that we needed to pull it back together and doing so in my typical long-winded manner.
Well, I think, this is a book that goes off on its own tangents and also meditates pretty thoroughly on the odd path that physical objects can take from one owner to the next, you know?
sure.
Uh, we have to put a loose theme on it.
So, any other thoughts on this last volume before we
I
time
mean,
travel back to Thursday?
I like the series, like, just going through all of it, but I think this last volume really tied it together. I mean, that
Yeah.
was how I felt about it.
Yeah, no, it was I'm always wary when I get to the last volume of a completed work because endings can be so difficult.
Mhm,
Um, and I think Kieran did a very good job of closing the circle.
mhm. Which the two things I'd love to end on is that one, I want to say the first collaboration between Gillen and Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hahn's Journey into Mystery was known as a comedy in 30 parts or a tragedy in 31. And yeah, I'm hopeful that this is this gets at the very least a sequel because it's the spine of my hardback says book one. And I know that that's something that can happen a lot in comics where you see, a book one, but never a book two. But I really hope this one gets it one day.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely.
we can cross our fingers. I think I only agree if they honestly have a story to tell.
True,
I
true.
mean,
Um,
yeah, I would say as long as it's continuing to be a project that they're passionate about, I am
Right.
would be would love to see more of it. Obviously,
Mhm.
they haven't like made any so big areas where like I feel like, oh, they're definitely planning it, but they've left enough
well, and
open areas.
here's the billion-dollar question:
Yeah.
Mhm.
if you were to do a sequel, do you do it for whatever reason they return to die, or do you do it like Jumanji style and the dice fall into somebody else's hands?
Yeah.
I mean,
Whole new
again,
group, similar world.
Well,
that's also
I
another
will say
option.
I will say that the one group we know exists somewhere is it's Molly's party.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was what I was thinking of.
But she doesn't even have to be the only one.
No, not
Right.
at all.
You
You
know, it
brought up a
doesn't
very
have to
valid
be
point.
that tied. I mean, particularly now that we know lots of people. I mean, for that matter, the way it's set up, it doesn't even have to be a future group.
Mhm.
You know, the
No,
the
I
the
mean, you
engine
could.
the
Well,
engine pushes history. You could have
what I was gonna say is even going back through the backlogs of or the end parts of each comic where they do the essays. There
Right.
are some essays where he said, like, there's even a mention, and again, it's not necessarily that he'll do it. It's just even in the essay, he doesn't say, "Oh, I definitely want to do this." What he says is,
Mhm.
there's at some point the underlying um, Bronte or the underlying friction between the Brontes and how that like essentially led to war and die. Um,
Mhm.
there are definitely areas that he has some ideas for stories and like he could flesh out if he wanted to.
Mhm.
Again, I would say uh I would want him to be passionate about it as he has been, uh
Mhm.
and if he's not, then I want him to, whatever he does, be passionate, but because obviously he's a very good writer.
Well, and this is where I would say that I would also want him to be certain that, he could top Isabel Greenberg, or at least do something enough different, because she did a fantastic book, both of the Brates and their world. I think actually a little bit before Die.
Right.
Mm.
Or maybe not. It came out in 2020, so it was actually during Die.
All right.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know as much about that work, but all
Yeah, I'll
it's
look
I
that
would
good.
one up.
say is
I
obviously
like
Looks pretty good.
Isabel Greenberg a lot. She also did a book called Encyclopedia of Early Earth. And I think
Oh, I've seen that one.
Thousand Nights of Hero, I believe, is her other
cool.
book.
No,
Um,
I'm all for it. I just
well, 100
was
Nights
trying to
of Hero.
say that, I think he at least has, obviously, content can overdraft. He has the world of Die that he has to be thinking about with whatever he does, right? If he goes back to it. Um,
Yeah, looks like she does a lot of illustration for
but
kids' history books too.
yeah,
Anyway, that sounds good. Now we'll time warp back to Thursday, so those of us in the Central Time Zone can get some sleep, and and the bum out on the West Coast can have dinner.
oh yeah.
Since I'm guessing, since we started playing our role playing game at 5:30 his time, that he hasn't
Oh
eaten
wow.
yet.
No, actually, I just sort of did lunch and dinner
Okay.
like halfway between the two of them today, which may not be great, but I don't know. It's when I was hungry and I
So
haven't really
somebody
been
make
hungry
a
since.
time warp sound. 3 books we hope will be spectacular. I'm going to start out by Barbaric Born in Blood #1. Comes out this week, and I have read it, and it is spectacular. Also, somehow I did not put Blood Brothers Mother #1. Cemetery Kids Don't Die #3, or What's the Furthest Place from Here #18 on my list. I still expect them all to be absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Toxic Summer #1 from Derek Charm at Oni Press. This just looks funny. It just looks funny. Derek Charm's the one that took over for Eric Henderson or Erica Henderson on Squirrel Girl, and I thought he did a
Yep.
good job. He was
Yep.
the artist with Ryan North for the Shax's Best Day Star Trek Day of Blood tie-in story. He's got some humor chops. I like my teen comedies. I like my post-apocalyptic environmental sci-fi type stuff. So yeah, I'll take it. Take it. Whisper Queen #1 from Chip Zdarsky and Chris Anta. Chip is delving back into his World of Magic.
Mhm.
Looking forward to that. At this one, I mean, I know that, it's like a Viking tale, but I mean, I would just buy it based on the name.
Mhm.
I love the name. Bear Pirate Viking Queen, #1 from Sean Lewis and Jonathan Marks Baravecchia. So what are you looking forward to, Tyler?
Well, I did put Cemetery Kids Don't Die on my list, number 3
Yep.
from Zach Thompson and Danielle Irizarry from Oni Press. This book has just been
Yeah, it's been great.
phenomenal.
It's been great.
Great. Yeah.
I just wound up doing 3 #1s.
I love the fact that they are addressing the video game addiction that's going on in the world. I think like I'm witnessing my stepson just being sucked into gaming, and he's
Right.
graduating high school right now, and uh he's going off to college, and I hope that it goes
You
well
can
for
find the
him.
balance.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And then Bear Pirate Viking Queen looked amazing. So I'm also put that on my list. And it was not on purpose. It was just this is just what's coming out this week. And I also put the Whisper Queen from Chip
Yeah.
Zdarsky and Chris Anka. Both looked awesome. So very much looking forward to all of that.
All righty. That wraps another week, Tyler.
Yeah.
Do we have anything? I don't think we actually. Oh, wait, no, May 1st is this week, isn't it? So yeah, we're talking to Jim Kruger on Wednesday. So
All right.
yeah,
So that looks like it's the only thing on
on the calendar for right now.
calendar for interviews. Yep.
And then late May picks up some more. We've got some balls in the air, so some things could pop up, possibly even sooner rather than later. Yeah, I'm
Cool.
already starting to schedule into the summer. It's going to be a busy summer. I don't have the time to travel, so I'm trying to set up more interviews, and hopefully you'll have time to join us because it's always fun when you do.
Yep. Yep. Hopefully life will slow down for me. That's all I can say. I just hope life will slow down.
Yeah, I get it.
It's just
I get it.
like tonight, for example. Today I'm putting my dog to sleep today.
Oh.
Yeah, I have an old pug, not the one that you've been seeing on my lap. She's my new dog.
You need to learn to say that, like, I'm putting my dog to sleep today, not the way. I mean, I just read about Christy Nome in her biography, like gleefully talking about putting the family dog down. You
No.
don't want that. It's and I say this as somebody who has trouble with expression, so I've had to think about it a lot. It's I have to put my dog to sleep today.
I know it came out way more jubilant than I wanted it to. So I have to do that. And then my stepson's prom today, so we're doing a whole bunch of prom stuff today.
Oh God.
I know, it's just it never ends.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Have fun.
You wish you were at C2E2 with me.
I do very much. But anyway, to our listeners out there, we will catch you guys after the next page. See ya.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22panelspodcast.